this is going to be my video about my cons of breastfeeding slash pumping. And this video is not to discourage anybody from breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is definitely, breast milk is definitely the best for your baby. But if you're unable to do it and switch to formula, then that's just what you have to do. But anyways, this is definitely not a video to discourage it, just my video telling everyone about what I've gone through like in the last 6 months with breastfeeding. First I'll talk about the first 9 weeks, which I was on maternity leave for. And when she was first born, she was born by C-section. So I was really groggy, couldn't really breastfeed like after she was, like right after she was born. I didn't even get to hold her till 2 hours afterwards because I was shaking so much. And the nurses wouldn't let me hold her. So when, I guess it was, and I can't remember a whole lot because I was pretty doped up. I just know she was a pretty good, she latched on pretty good. Like, I had problems in the beginning with her, like just me having problems getting her to latch on, but the lactation consultant would come in, she would get her to latch on just perfectly fine. And they always like recommend, you know, to like try to feed them between like every 2 and 4 hours, offer them the breast. Excuse me. And so I tried that, and you know, like when they're first born, they don't really they don't like eat a whole lot, especially breastfed babies, because they have to learn how to do it. Oh, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold, sorry. But, you know, and I think that was one of my problems, was that, you know, I was trying to feed her too much and she wasn't really hungry. So, anyways, when we got home with her, the problems continued with latching on, and she would take forever to eat. But that's, you know, that's just kind of, you know, normal for babies when they're first learning to breastfeed. So, when she was 2.5 weeks old, I bought a breast pump and started pumping milk for her, and I nipple confused her. So I shouldn't have introduced her to a bottle until between 4 and 6 weeks. So then I had to help her to relearn how to latch on and all that, and she still never really got it. She just like kind of would suck on my breasts like they were bottles. So that took a little while to get her to get back on to me. And I mean, like, I'd still feed her like a bottle at night, but that was it. So then around 5 weeks, I guess I was not drinking. You could drink a whole lot when you breastfeed. I was not drinking very well, and I developed a kidney stone. And my back, just like the day before I went to the hospital, my back was just hurting. And I thought, well, you know, maybe it's just like, you know, maybe it's my period coming, but you don't have your period that soon. So anyways, when I went to the hospital, I mean, I woke up and the pain was excruciating. I thought I was in labor again. I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, what is going on? My husband finally, he talked me into going to the hospital, and they did like a CT scan of like my abdomen, I guess, and they did like urinalysis. They found that I had a kidney stone and a UTI. Now, I had a UTI when I was pregnant, so this was my second UTI in only a couple of months. So, because I was dehydrated and I wasn't drinking correctly, and I was breastfeeding, I developed that kidney stone. It was a small kidney stone, it was like 3 millimeters. So, but it was blocking the flow of urine, so I was not peeing at all. And then the other thing probably that bothered me too was that I had a lot of nipple tenderness. They were like dry and cracked, and every time she'd latch on, I would just pretty much scream. I would cry because and what one would usually be more tender than the other. And so I guess right before I went back to work, I put her just on bottles and said I was just going to pump the milk out for her. And little did I know the experience of going back to work and pumping and trying to keep up with all that. Because when I went back to work, I put myself on an 8-4-12 schedule. I pump every 8 hours. So I produced so much milk that we had to buy a deep freezer. That was 250, something like that we had to put down just for the breast milk. And then later on, now I have found out that I produce lactate from the breast milk, which I've done a separate video on. But I have to scald my milk now, basically put it in a pot, boil it, wait for the little bubbles to come, and then put it in a bottle or either freeze it immediately to try to prevent it from souring. So that's just been a challenge for me, trying to work. I work 12-hour days and I work night shift. So that has just been a huge challenge for me, and I'm just about ready to just give it up because I'm tired, and I mean just breastfeeding in general just makes you tired, and so it doesn't go with my work schedule, but I try to do the best I can, and so it takes me about 30 minutes just to pump out. I pump out about 13 ounces each time, so it takes an hour and a half out of my day, essentially. And then when I do come off nights, I would love to just go to bed at like 10 or 11 o'clock, but I can't do that because I have to pump at midnight, and there's no sense in me going to sleep at 10 o'clock and then waking up 2 hours later just to pump and then going back to sleep. I mean, it's just pointless for me. And so I stay up till midnight, like every single night, and pump. Now, if I was working day shift, it would be a whole lot different, and, you know, I think if I did work day shift, it would probably be easier. But I just prefer nights over days, and my husband works day shift, and I work night shift, so. Anyways, the other con that, you know, is something to think about is that, you know, breast pumps cost money, and I did a video on the cost of pumping, so you should go and check that out. But it can get expensive. It's not nearly as expensive as formula, of course, but it can get expensive. And, you know, some of the stuff that I've gone through, I wish that I would have known before now. So I probably ran my time. So if I think of anything else, I'll make part 2. If anybody else wants to do a video like this telling me their cons of breastfeeding, that would be like great. Just put it in the response video or just make a video. We could use it as like a tag video, I guess. Okay, thanks for watching.